Welcome to the eCommerce Hustle Podcast, the go-to source for merchants, marketers, and entrepreneurs looking to build, market, and optimize their online stores. We dive into the nitty-gritty of e-commerce through the lenses of real, fast-growing, direct-to-consumer brands and industry experts to learn what it takes to succeed and scale to 7 figures and beyond. So get ready to take your brand to the next level with the eCommerce Hustle, brought to you by Sendlane.
While wedding planning, Emily Harpel was inspired to give a traditional childhood treat a chic upgrade. Art of Sucre was born in 2016 with the idea of spinning fresh cones of cotton candy in creative and unique flavors such as champagne, orange bourbon, and watermelon for all to enjoy. Art of Sucre is on a mission to spread a little bit of extra sweetness because we firmly believe it's the small things that bring the most joy. Emily, oh my goodness, it sounds so good. My mouth is watering and I'm ready for some Art of Sucre. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, how the heck you got to this place in your life where you're making and giving away cotton candy to spark joy across the world, and your role at the company, and a little bit of your background here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Emily. I'm the founder of Art of Sucre. And the whole idea came about in the middle of planning my wedding. I was set to go on to graduate school, and really long story short, that did not pan out the way that I was expecting it to. So I suddenly found myself with a degree in psychology, which, newsflash, you can't do a lot with that unless you go on to graduate school, which is one thing to learn, I've already graduated with that degree. And so I really didn't have any plans at that point and was on Pinterest, as most people who are planning their weddings are, and saw that really every other dessert was getting this really cool social media, Instagrammable at the time, upgrade. I mean, I'm sure you've seen like the sugar cookies that are so beautiful, you almost don't want to eat them, and cake pops, all the things. And I realized that cotton candy was really being left out of this almost revival of those traditional treats, and thought that I would take it upon myself to do something about it.
That sounds epic. Actually, locally where I am, there's a sugar cookie company, and they will make a sugar cookie into anything and everything always. So I definitely understand the Instagram effect there. With cotton candy, I guess. So you've really made your forum into TikTok. But your business wasn't necessarily started just for like the TikTok flair from the get-go. Can you tell us a little bit about the origin story of how the organization began, and what you were doing initially at that point?
Yeah, so in 2016, TikTok was not a part of our vocabulary, and if it was about a clock, right? So that was not even on anybody's horizon, let alone mine. And I started out really in events. So I would take my cute little pink cotton candy machine and set up at weddings or birthday parties, bar and bat mitzvahs. I mean, you name it, I have done it. I have done dog birthday parties. We're based in Cleveland, Ohio. So we've partnered with all of the local professional sports teams here, like the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Browns. And we were doing things like that. And when I say we, I really mean it was me. I would have occasionally a friend or two pop in to help with events if I had double bookings or things like that. But really, it was just a one-woman show of me and my pink cart going all over Northeast Ohio. And then the world shut down in 2020, and I went from working 7 days a week nonstop to being a stay-at-home dog mom, like I like to tease, and found myself realizing that you can really only clean so many linen closets so many times before you really start to go crazy. And I really had this kind of pivotal moment in front of me of, hey, what do I do here? I have this events-based business. Events are not looking the same and aren't for a long time now. Do I move on to something else? Do I get a real job? Do I start another business? Do I pivot? And eventually it was just like a light bulb moment of realizing, hey, I have a really cool concept here. I need to figure out a way to make this a shippable product that's no longer events based. It's exactly what I did simultaneously while starting to create content for TikTok. So what happened was I brought my audience along for the ride of the transition, and they got to see everything behind this, what it like to pivot a company from events to an e-store.
That is like the most rad thing ever, I gotta say. So there's a few nuggets in there. One is I think a degree in psychology is actually one of the most interesting degrees, particularly because Danny and I, we work in marketing, partnerships, business development. Honestly, I think that in your position and in business, interpersonal communication psychology is perhaps one of the most critical components. So I do think it's massively useful, although like a set psychology degree, I understand you need a master's.
Right.
But and then beyond that, I think working on the event side, and the event side before moving into social media, before moving into pivoting the business, obviously because of the pandemic. That said, I mean, can you tell me a little bit about like how you feel the relationships or and the interactions that you had throwing a dog birthday party, bat mitzvahs, and all of these events have informed your ability to connect better in an e-commerce format since then?
Having the event side of things was almost like having a business with training wheels in some ways. Obviously, I was self-employed. It was very much a business, but it was on a much smaller level and different level than what we're operating on now, right? So it worked out perfectly because I was also kind of an adult with training wheels at that time. I had just graduated from college. I was really young. I didn't know what I was really doing. So it really went hand in hand, and especially developing relationships with people, doing customer service, having that front facing role instead of being just simply behind a computer. I gained so many skill sets as far as interacting with people, what people want to see, how they want to see, how to communicate that information. One of the things that we talk about in house so often is that our product is fairly unique. Cotton candy is straightforward, right? But what we do with it is pretty unique. And it's so easy sometimes to get kind of caught in the trap of we know what we're saying, we know how it works, and then just assuming that everybody else knows what it is and all the things about it. And that's not necessarily true. So having that events background of people asking the questions, well, how does cotton candy work? What is this? How do you do this? Really prepared me for the communication side of the e-commerce and how to market the product, because I got to see firsthand the questions people were asking, how they were interacting with it, and what to expect.
So tell me a little bit about cotton candy as a choice. I know that, there's other things out there. For me, when I think of cotton candy, it's like nostalgic love. It's like my favorite treats, but I only think about it associated with like fairs or like ball games, right? So how have you been able to like, I guess, break people out of that? And then also, how did you come up with like doing these unique, crazy flavors that I mean, like I never would have thought of. I've literally, I think when I think of cotton candy flavors, I think
Yep.
colors. I'm like, I'll take the pink one or the blue one, and that's about as far as I get in like my maturity model.
Well, no, you're 100% right. That's what's so fascinating about cotton candy is that people don't associate it with a flavor. You are spot on with that. It's truly, I want the pink or the blue. And you're like, well, what is that? And you're like, I don't know. It's either pink or blue. That's it. That's as far as it goes. And so the whole kind of concept came from you can really only get cotton candy at a baseball game or a fair. Traditionally, that's where it's at because it has a little bit of a barrier to entry, right? Everybody has an oven at home that you can bake your own cookies if you wanted to try that and to ice them and to make them beautiful if you wanted to. Not everybody owns a cotton candy machine, and you can't make cotton candy without it. So really the unique flavor aspect came into the fact of how do we take this out of those traditional childhood memories that as adults, it is nostalgic. It's so fun to think back on happy memories, whether you're at Disney World or a theme park or wherever you are eating it, and to have that adult spin on it. Also, most people think cotton candy and they think, wow, that's a lot of sugar. And it is, it's just sugar, right? However, it's so much less sugar than you actually think that it is. One serving of cotton candy is like eating a Jolly Rancher. So when you're, thinking between a sugar cookie or a thing of cotton candy, the cotton candy actually is way less sugar and calories for you. You just probably don't assume that. when you attach flavors like champagne or orange bourbon, that's going to pique an adult's interest way more than just that blue or pink cotton candy that you're used to. So that's how the flavors were born. It was, how do we take this childhood treat, but make it something that adults are going to want to have at adult events? And those were the flavor ideas came from.
So rad.
It is so great. And I had no idea about the calories and the sugar. I mean, that's a selling point. That's
Yeah.
Put that everywhere.
It's my fun fact, because people are like, well, it's just too much sugar. And I'm like, but is it?
What is it? Well, and I think that you guys are doing a really great job too of putting that in your messaging, right? Like where sweetness and moments collide. I think Andrew hit that right on the head, right? Of like how cotton candy brings about some kind of nostalgia, and it also combines, when you're doing events or something like that. And you do have those special memories that come about. So I love that. I love that that's where you're taking your messaging.
Yeah. I mean, if you remember eating cotton candy as a child, it probably isn't a sad memory attached to it. And then to add that to your wedding day or a graduation celebration or whatever it is a pretty cool thing.
It is. It is.
I remember this one time that I was working at my school carnival, and I got to work at the cotton candy booth for like an hour making the cotton candy. And honestly, I just remember it wrapping all around my hands and being so blissfully happy that like I was lucky enough to be able to work the cotton candy machine.
Yeah.
So I am sure that other people feel like the exact same way. And the interesting thing when you bring up the sugar content as well is, I mean, I cook a lot of things from scratch in my household, and there's quite a bit of sugar to be used there. But it is interesting that it's very nominal quantity of sugar actually in cotton candy because of the effect of it all also. So like, have you created flavors for other things? Like, were you like a chef? Were you like into candy making to any extent possible? Like, how do you go from I want to make orange bourbon flavor to bringing it into the world without alcohol content? This is a big confusion point for me.
Also, me too, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah, so it's pretty funny actually. I get asked often, like, oh, like where did you go to culinary school? And I'm like, yeah, that was not the path that I took to get here. If you want the honest truth, it just took a lot of experimenting and a lot of Googling, which frankly, in this instance, didn't lead really anywhere because again, cotton candy is pretty rare. You don't think of a household name when you think of cotton candy, right? So I feel like on a lot of levels, it's really just been me kind of hearing this on my own and pioneering it. I bought a ton of cotton candy base, looked at the ingredients of it and realized a lot of this isn't necessary. There's a lot of preservatives in this. And then just really took to myself in the kitchen of my condo at the time where I lived with my husband and just started whipping up batches of cotton candy, making my parents eat it, making anybody that would listen to me eat it until I really figured out the science of how to do it. And to this day, I'm still the one that does most of our recipe testing and developing in-house. I have a team that's incredible and they help me, but I'm very hands-on in the process. I'm literally sitting in our production facility. We do everything ourselves by hand, from making the flavors, coming up with the ideas, recipe testing, producing it, fulfilling it. All of it happens right here.
That is wild. So first off, your husband, does he love cotton candy?
So here's a little fun fact about Drew. He is a saint because I like to say we were children when we got married, and we were. Drew's actually 2 years younger than I am. And so when we got married, he was 21. So a child.
Spring chicken.
Yes. I tell my mom often, I'm like, who let us do that? Like, it's worked out. It's great. We still like each other and everything, but still, who thought that was a good idea? He likes cotton candy because I force feed it to him. But other than that, I don't think it'd probably be his go-to, but he does really love the orange bourbon. And on the back of our packaging are like little profiles. And that one was kind of in a playful kind of fun way mirrored after him and his personality. So he's definitely been a large part in the brand. He doesn't work for me or anything like that. It's also a common question that we get asked, but really it's because of him. And he gave me the green light to do this. No questions asked that we're here today.
That's amazing. And what about, tell us a little bit more about your branding. Is that something that you came up with? Is that something that you worked with a team, like a creative team on? Because it's so beautiful. It's so creative. How did that all come about?
I have the most incredible design team that you will quite literally ever meet. And they really held my hand through this whole process of developing packaging. It took a long time, a lot of trial and error. And again, it's because cotton candy is so unique. You can't just call up somebody or co-packer or distributor and say, hey, like, what packaging do you put this in? We were literally starting from scratch. And when I say they held my hand, I mean quite literally. They are based in Denver, and they flew in to Ohio, learned how to make the cotton candy, learned how to fill the pouches, so they had a better understanding of this is what actually goes into creating this. We need to adjust this wording. The cotton candy sits like this in the pouch. Here's maybe this material that'll work better. So I was very hands-on in the process, but trust me, it would not have looked the way that it does without Molly and Jackie. They are my guiding light in everything really that I do, but especially with our design.
Emily, can you tell everybody what a glitter bomb is and how it can change their life?
It really is life changing, not to be dramatic in any way, but a glitter bomb is a small fluff of traditionally champagne flavored cotton candy, but we do really any flavor. We do a lot of custom orders that has a small amount of edible glitter in it. And you drop it into what we like to say anything clear and bubbly. Personally, I prefer a glass of Prosecco. You can use champagne. You can use Sprite if it's for a little one or someone that doesn't indulge in alcohol. Even a cocktail, really, but clear and bubbly works best. Drop the cotton candy in, it dissolves, leaving behind just a touch of sweetness. It's really not that much sugar, so it's not going to change the profile of the drink too drastically. The glitter comes out and it changes the color of your drink while leaving behind a nice, beautiful sparkle.
That sounds extremely exciting. And also, I cannot wait for my 7-year-old daughter to experiencing one in real time soon enough. So I guess what do you see has been like, what is your number one flavor? What do people come to you the most for?
Definitely the glitter bombs. I think they translate so well on video, right? So it's a whole effect. We do a lot of different things on TikTok. One of the things that has really worked well for us is these custom orders that we get. People ask us to do really wild and creative things. And in-house, obviously, we problem solve, we trial them. And I thought to myself, why don't we share this content, right? People want to be brought along for the journey and they want to see what it's actually like behind the scenes. So when we get an idea, someone wants to do a rainbow glitter bomb, how the heck do you pull that off? We actually take to TikTok and post a video about it and share kind of the journey of how we come to the final conclusion of what we do. People share their tips and tricks, how they would do it, any different ideas. And it becomes this really interactive experience. And the glitter bombs just fly off the shelves. We do just standard colors that we keep in stock all the time. So it's pink, blue, and gold, but we also do themed sets, which are really fun. So we have a mimosa glitter bomb set for Mother's Day right now. And it's different flavors of mango, peach, cranberry, and orange cotton candy that turns your mimosa into cotton candy mimosa with glitter in it, which is awesome. And so those are definitely our best sellers. But from the pouches of cotton candy, watermelon and champagne are the ones that people just keep going back to. And those flavors came from actually doing events. So those 6 flavors were the most popular that I had tracked throughout all of my time doing events, and the most picked ones for cart service when we would spin them live. So really they're all evenly pretty loved, but watermelon and champagne stand a little higher than the rest.
Genius. So you really look at, I mean, you talk about like your business with training wheels, right? When you started off on the event side. But really, if you read an elaborate quantity of business books, what it really advises is to do ample customer development before launching a business. And this is why I kind of think you had the perfect formula for getting started. Whether or not you knew that you were going to kind of become more mass market, or knew that this was kind of the inevitable future while you were doing it. I think it's fascinating to me that you were able to be in the trenches for so long and you were able to learn likes, dislikes, language communication that you're able to translate so heavily. So the next thing is the TikTok. So tell me a little bit about the TikTok. I already mentioned that I'm a little bit of a lurker. I'm 38. I am not a spring chicken, but I've loved TikTok since I've been exposed to it. My family enjoys it as well, and it's a sensation. Coming from like a marketing background where we're doing all different service lines as well, we've really seen the entire market, and with a lot of like founders and marketers listening in on this, what we've really seen is like Facebook struggling more recently, right? So Facebook and Instagram are having a little bit more difficulty. There's less transparency in what's happening with Apple and privacy. We're seeing people decentralize more. Obviously, Pinterest is still a great place to go for different reasons, but TikTok has seen this precipitous rise. It's not only become more dominant than Facebook, it's become more dominant than YouTube view time. It's become more dominant than all Google view time. It is huge. So there's a lot of businesses out there that are like, how do I maximize my products on TikTok? And what should I do? What's the first step? I guess, how would you advise that? How did you get into it? And how the heck did you get to like 1.2 million followers and who knows how much time?
Yeah, so I think you hit the nail on the head. The first step in TikTok is to be a consumer. You have to really be a part of the app, whether you're lurking, whether you're whatever it is, even if it's just for pleasure. TikTok is its own culture in and of itself. And it's very obvious if you're not a part of that culture. You even see this now that there's almost like a trickle down effect. If you're on Instagram and you're on Instagram Reels, which they're pushing so heavily now, a lot of those are trends that were on TikTok 3 months ago, 2 months ago, a week ago. The rate in which TikTok changes is so rapid that you have to also consume the app as well as create for it. And I feel like that is very different than anything else that we've really seen in social media so far. Obviously, there's bits and pieces of that with meme culture and things like that, but this is really a whole other world, right? And so during lockdown, I was consuming TikTok just like everybody else was. Drew and I were sending videos back and forth. We were doing it with friends, all of the things. And it finally got to the point where I was thinking to myself, I have so much content just stored on my phone from when I was doing events. Why the heck don't I start making videos just for fun, something to do? And started in very embarrassing ways posting on TikTok. And the reality is you have to get past that. You've got to start somewhere. And you're not going to be an expert until you start doing it. So if you can get past, I think there's this overwhelming sense of whether it's embarrassment or apprehension, or I don't know how to do that, or it's so foreign to me, that blocks a lot of people, business owners, people that want to be content creators, whatever your goal is. If you can find a way to release that and just let it go, that's going to be the biggest thing you will ever do for yourself. Because let me tell you this, some of the videos that I have that have the most views, or the ones that originally started popping off, are to this day the silliest, dumbest videos, if I'm being honest. Like if I would have prevented myself from posting, if I looked back at that, I would have been like, why would anybody want to watch this? And it has 3 million views later. You just don't know. That's kind of the beauty and the scary thing about TikTok, is you truly don't know. The one video specifically that I'm referring to is, it's literally me packing a bag as if I was going to an event. So it's like, here's this jar of sugar, put it in the bag. Here are these cones. Here's my extension cord. The end. And everybody loved it. And I would have never in a million years, I was like, I used to do this like 15 times a week. And now people are just like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. So sharing the bits and pieces of the behind the scenes stuff that just are everyday commonplace to you could really be entertaining, or people want to see it. You don't know. So share everything is kind of the other piece of advice that I have to people. Love the behind the scenes, and there's such a realness and authenticity to TikTok that I think Instagram has absolutely lost with the perfect curated grid and all this. I almost think of Instagram as a business card. So you meet somebody the first time, it's very rare that you're going to say, hey, follow me on TikTok, because that's just not the culture of TikTok yet. I think it's maybe trending that way, but it's We're not there yet. If they come up on your For You page and you like their content, you're going to follow them. But if you meet somebody and you want to exchange information, you say, hey, head to my Instagram account. And that's going to be kind of your business card, the curated, beautiful, the bits of information that you want to last for permanent for people to see and to grab kind of quickly. And TikTok is really the driving side of the what do we do? How do we do it? Why do we do it? Fun, behind the scenes, interactive, and really the truth behind growing the brand.
Well, and you said you had, some of your most successful videos are ones that you're just like, you just put it out. You don't even think about it. Is that something that you do for all of your videos? Is there a strategy behind your posting on TikTok now, that you've kind of grown your following? Is there a strategy to it? And is it always you, or is it you and your team making content?
So it's a little bit of both as far as the strategy goes. At this point, I've been on the app for over 2 years, and we grew pretty quickly. We had one video specifically that hit 25 million views very rapidly. That happened pretty quickly, which is where we got a bulk of our followers from. As far as when we post today, there are some things that I know when I post them, most likely that people are going to engage with and really enjoy. I mentioned we call them Sucre test kitchen videos, where we kind of present a problem to the audience and they help us figure it out. Those videos tend to trend really well and do really well. And I have a strategy as far as what time of day I tend to post at, and if I add a trending sound, what that looks like. But the reality is with TikTok, you're not going to beat the algorithm. If it's content that you can get people engaged in and commenting on, that should be your goal. Try not to overthink it. It's so easy to get so emotionally attached to things like this. And I think there's this virality or the viral aspect of TikTok that people really kind of hone in on. But the beauty of TikTok is not necessarily how many views that you receive, which is great. You just don't know who is viewing the video, right? So if it has 50 views, that one of those people could be the exec of a large company that you're trying to gain the attention of, or an event planner that is going to book you for this. You don't know, right? So even if you're seeing 100 views, 1,000 views, those people change pretty consistently. And it can get you in front of people that you want to be in front of without you even knowing, which is a really powerful thing. And as far as who does the content, it's definitely me. That is one thing that I will not be letting go of. People very much recognize my voice. It's not so much my face as it is as my voice and my hands. I definitely have Emma. She's my right hand. She's my head of operations. And oftentimes she helps me film and we'll come up with concepts and things together. But as far as the bulk of the work and the editing and the posting and everything, it's definitely still me.
Interesting. So you have full control over your TikTok. Do you post once per day, or like do you have like a strategy for posting multiple times a day, or are you just coming up with like one great piece of content per day that you're mapping out?
When we were first getting started, I was spending 8 to 10 hours a day filming content and posting videos, and I was posting 3 to 4 videos a day. And it's a lot. That is a full-time job plus some in and of itself. If you have the power to do that and you're just starting out, do it. The more that you post, the better. As it sits right now, it really depends on kind of where we're at. And this is also the beauty of TikTok. We can see a direct correlation and relation of when we post on TikTok for our sales, right? So the more that we post, the more that our sales go up. So if we're having a really busy week where we are just kind of booked out with capacity of custom orders that we've got to do, or a ton of orders sitting in our queue, I won't post much. If we're having a slower week, or I know that we need to kind of meet goals for the month or for the week, I'll post 2 or 3 videos a day. So at this point, that's kind of my strategy, because we, again, do everything in-house. I can really adjust the frequency of posting and really kind of control our sales funnel that way.
Okay, so that is crazy and it is awesome. And I will also tell you how unfamiliar this conversation is to me. I've been in e-commerce for so long, and while I've heard of people building their business on Facebook and live video and Facebook pages and utilizing video, etc., there was always kind of like some best practices, and then there was kind of like these experiences that happened for very short periods of time where there was arbitrage available. But for you, you're actually building your business off of organic TikTok. Are you doing any paid media on TikTok at all?
Not at all. We don't pay for we've never paid for anything. No Facebook ads, no Instagram ads, nothing on TikTok. It's all been organic.
crazy. And the next question is influencers. Are you finding other people in like the TikTok community or otherwise that you are sending free product to, and getting them to post or engaging with the community in any way in that form? Or is everything still organic based, even if your product is kind of optimized, I think, for sharing? But can you tell me a little bit more about that? Or are influencers even a play for you?
So the really cool thing about TikTok that I don't think a lot of people know unless you're actually a creator on the app is that there's a feature that's called mutuals or friends only. So I can share a video that's only going to go out to the people that we mutually follow each other, which is a really cool way to kind of check in and say like, hey, like I'm having, my videos are getting kind of lower views. Anybody else experiencing this? Or hey, I'm throwing an influencer event and I have this much of a budget. I'm looking for something cool and unique. Are you interested in this? So it's a really cool way to build community with other creators, whether they're business owners, content creators, influencers, whoever it is within the app, that I have found to be really enjoyable. And it's kind of a fun thing because you can have people that have huge followings that are your mutuals. So you're in, this shared space at different stages, which is great. Right now, we're in the process of kind of developing an ambassador program, which not only allows us to reach out to influencers and things like that to partner together, but also our followers that kind of want to share our product as well, because we just get asked all the time. People feel really connected to what we do because they've been here throughout the journey. And what's been very interesting is that we've had influencers, unbeknownst to us, purchase our product, create content around it, and then tag us in it. We're in Powell. She goes by the Seltzbert. That's her whole thing. She does like hard seltzers, and she purchased our product, did a whole review on it, and we've become friends. We're mutuals now. And now oftentimes I'll say like, hey, St. Patrick's Day is coming up. Do you want some of our product, for a video? And she'll say, yeah, that's amazing. Send it on over. Or, no, thank you. So it's happened in an organic way with influencers as well, which has been a really neat process because it doesn't feel like a, hey, hi, do this for me for free, because we're still a small business, right? We don't have a huge budget or really any budget for paid marketing at the moment.
Yeah.
So, Danny, go.
I was just going to say too, when you're thinking about that and your followers and their user generated content, right? Do you use that ever? Or is that just something that they can stitch with you or that they create on their own? But do you ever use any of the content that your followers create in terms of your promotion?
In this moment, it's just been everything that we've created in-house. Sometimes we'll reshare it on Instagram on our stories. TikTok makes it a little bit of a harder place to reshare content like that. And I also just want to respect those creators too, as far as, sharing their content in a way that didn't pay them for that. So I would always want to get permission to make sure that's okay. But it's a little bit different on Instagram if they're sharing it to kind of reshare it in your stories. TikTok is trying to release that, but it's just not there yet. And I'm not sure it actually ever will be the same way that it is on Instagram.
So to reiterate, your advice to e-commerce owners and marketers that are just dipping their toes in or just getting started with TikTok is to try, if they have the capacity, to kind of go all in and do 3 to 4 posts a day, all their own content, show behind the scenes stuff, but then also show like customer facing product stuff. Or what would the approach be? Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's exactly it. And the cool thing about video content is that there's a lot of diversity in what you can do, especially on TikTok, right? You can voice over the videos, which has worked really well for us. That's what I found gets the views, and it's what I've stuck with. But in the beginning, I was playing with everything. There's the trending sound and the music and the dances and all the different things. My advice is to really experiment with all of it in the beginning, and then be your own researcher. Look at the analytics, see what videos are doing well for you, what's performing best, how can you fit that into whatever your business is or whatever you're trying to grow. So try a little bit of everything. And then from there, if you want to, you can niche down, although you don't have to with TikTok. That's kind of the beauty of it as well.
So then are you taking, so the next question is a lot of folks will already have like a significant Facebook, Instagram presence, right? Are you taking videos that you create on TikTok and then are you posting them on Reels as well, or cross?
Yes, absolutely. So we definitely create content, especially in video format, really for TikTok specifically. And then we repurpose it for Reels and YouTube Shorts as well. But we also have a whole, side of things that we're doing shoots for Instagram. Everybody's saying that Instagram is, of the past and all of that. The reality is Instagram isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So it's still important to focus on, in my personal opinion. I just think that if you have to pick between one of the two or what you're going to spend the most time and money on, absolutely should be TikTok. And then if you go out, blow up on TikTok, it helps fuel the Instagram. So that's kind of the growth strategy that we have used and has worked really well for us.
Absolutely. And I think that that is prescient as well for me. I mean, I once again, I'm a lurker on TikTok. Instagram, my 1-2 step these days. But I remember even convincing people in general to like get on Facebook for the first time, and then like trying to get like my parents on Facebook. Obviously, they own that place now, and I'm just a visitor. But I think it's interesting seeing the trends and the developments, and then also that you can still utilize it throughout multiple channels so that you can hedge your bets as well, and make sure that you can retain your success in growing your business on an ongoing basis. So then the next step is what's next for the art of Sucre? I mean, the way that you've built this business sounds incredible. It sounds interesting. It sounds delicious. It's delicious.
It is delicious. Doesn't sound it is delicious. As you can tell from all of my cotton candy over here. I just been wanting to eat it the whole time we've been talking.
So then what's next? I mean, are you planning a more flavor diversity? Are you planning to like get wider distribution? Are you planning on like what are the upcoming plans for Art of Sucre that we can anticipate and indulge ourselves in?
We're currently in the process of, I know this sounds kind of crazy, but we're currently in the process of actually rebranding. So it's going to have the same name, same feel and look that we have now, but we're getting new flavors. We're really kind of kicking it up a notch as far as what we're offering with different textures in the cotton candy. And that's really exciting and has been so much work behind the scenes. But once that's completed, we're going to really expand into working more with potential wholesale and retailers. And we have this new beautiful production facility with a lot more capacity now. So really kind of filling that and figuring out what that looks like next. We have custom orders that come in all the time. And that is really kind of my baby. It's back in my roots of events, just not me physically being there anymore. And the really creative projects and the one-off items. I don't think a lot of people realize that we do custom packaging. So if you're a brand and you come to us and you want to do client gifts or, part of a PR set or whatever, we'll actually create custom packaging with your company name on it and send that out for you. All you have to do is give us the addresses. So that's something that we're really expanding on and focusing on. The creative opportunities are truly endless when it comes to our capabilities and what we can do. And then who knows, maybe one day we'll get back into the event space. I could just see our cute little carts, in every basketball or baseball stadium in the country would be kind of cool. So who knows, but that's kind of the plan that we've got in place right now.
Well, this is absolutely thrilling, and I mean, you're at such an exciting juncture in your organization. So we wish nothing but the absolute best for you. We also appreciate you sharing your time, energy, and cotton candy with us.
Most importantly, the cotton candy.
It's been great. Thank you so much, Emily. We really appreciate it.